Hello and thank you for watching my 2048 video tutorial. So in the previous lecture we have created these two methods, make one move down index and make one move up index, and these methods are very simple. They take just one argument, which is an array of tiles that is called line of tiles, and this line of tiles, it may be a row or it may be a column, and what this method does is it searches in this line of tiles for all the available moves, and if we have a move available, this method makes just one move and it returns true as its boolean return type value. If we haven't found any available moves, this method returns false, so that we know that there is no point in calling this method again and we don't have any available moves in our line. And in this lecture I would like to make use of these methods to implement the actual move mechanic in our game, and hopefully by the end of this lecture we will have a fully functional move mechanic that we can test in Unity and see how it works. Right now we don't call any of these methods anywhere in our code, and the most suitable place for them would probably be this method that is called move. Right now our move method in our game manager class has no logic, it just displays this message into the console that says right move or left move depending on our move direction. And here I would like to create some logic for this method, and first thing that I will do is I'll create this loop. So I'm going to create a for loop, and here I will write int I equals 0, I is less than rows count. For arrays we have this property called length that will return the length of our array, and for our lists, because our rows is actually a list, we have this property called count, which will return the number of elements that are currently in our list. So we will use this, and I will write e++. It is safe to use rows count here because our field is actually square, and sometimes we might want to iterate over our columns and sometimes we want to iterate over our rows, but because the dimensions of the field are 4 tiles in each direction, we can use just rows count. And here I would like to create a switch statement, so I will create a switch, and switch is another modification of an if statement. If we have to consider multiple values that our variable may take, it is appropriate to use switch statements, so I will write switch md, and we can use our variable md as an argument to the switch statement. And here in the body of the switch statement I will create these different cases, so we will have a case for each of our move directions. So the first one will be move direction down, and there is this syntax, I have to put a colon in the end, and here I have to write a break statement so that our code execution doesn't fall through each case statement. And I will just create another case. I will write case move direction left and colon and break, and then I will write case move direction right. Once I have entered all our cases, so our variable md might take all these different values. MD might be move direction down, or MD might be move direction left, or right, or up. In all these cases we will have to do something different, and here we will use our newly created methods for making one move in this funky and clever way. In each case I'm going to create this another loop, which will be a while loop. I will write while, and here I will use one of our methods. It will be either make one move down index or make one move up index, and as you might remember from our short presentation, down move is actually an up index move because we are moving from our lower indexes to our higher indexes, so we will use this make one move up index. And as an argument of this method we will take our columns, because down move and up move are made in our columns, so I will write columns and I will provide an index of I. And actually after this while loop we gotta have a body of this loop and do something, but actually in this case we don't have to do anything in the body of our while loop, So just this simple one line of code will take care of the situation if our player chooses to move the tiles down on the game field. And let's take a couple of seconds to analyze how this will actually work. So when we enter this while loop, we are checking for this condition. If our method make one move up index provided a certain column returns true, then we can continue the execution of our loop, and while we have other moves available, we will re-enter this loop and our make one move up index method will be executed again and again. And all the code that we need to make our tiles move in one line is contained in this make one move up index method. And once we have no available moves, which means that our make one move up index method will return false, we will just continue execution and hit this break statement. Another thing that I will do is I will provide open and close brackets for this for loop just to enhance our code readability. So this for loop contains entirely this switch statement. So now I will just copy this line that says while make one move up index, and I'm going to copy and paste it into all the other cases, and we will have to sensibly change it for all the other cases. And the first thing that I have to change is if we are executing left or right moves, they will be conducted not in columns but in rows. So I will have to change this argument of our methods for rows, and for the right move I will do the same, so I will say rows. Another thing is this up index or down index. So in the case of left move, we are moving down index, so I will write down instead of up here. In case of right, we are moving up index, and in case of up, we are moving down index. And now our move method is complete, and I think that it might look a bit weird with all these while loops and our make one move methods as an arguments for while loops. And we have to remember that our make one move methods actually return a boolean value, so it's alright to use them as a condition of continuation in our while loops. And without any further explanations, I will just go to File and hit Save, and we can now go to Unity and we can test how it all works. I can launch the game. For now we don't have any automatic tile generation, but we have made it so that when we press the letter G on our keyboard, we can generate some tiles on the game field for us. And once I start pressing arrows on my keyboard, all the tiles are drawn to a certain border of our game field. So in this lecture we have implemented a fully working move mechanic for our 2 over 8 game. And in the next lecture I'm going to implement the merge mechanic. So by the end of next lecture, if we move our tiles on the game field and there are any merges available, the tiles will merge and form bigger and bigger tiles. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.